All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jon French. I am the Director of University of Toronto Entrepreneurship, or UTE, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to Accelerator Fest and also to the first Desjardins Speaker Series of the new school year. Welcome. Before we begin, I would like to start with a land acknowledgement. I wish to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. I would also encourage you to explore events and initiatives that are happening on September 30th, either with the University of Toronto or external as part of the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Really excited to be hosting this event for the first time ever. This is the inaugural Accelerator Fest. And the goal of today is to showcase the breadth and the depth of the entrepreneurial ecosystem here at the University of Toronto and the resources that are available to you, current or aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm biased, obviously, but I don't think there's a better place than the City of Toronto, the University of Toronto, to be building a company. And it's a combination of many, many different factors, including but not limited to the diversity of the student body we have here on campus, the diversity of talent in the city, our proximity to hospitals, the caliber of domain expertise and research coming out of the university that can be commercialized and turned into companies that have social impact and economic impact. We really are spoiled here in this ecosystem. I'm excited to be here with the Accelerator staff, or the leads. Many of you have met them outside. There's two groups that are the beating heart of our entrepreneurial ecosystem. One of those groups is you, the students, the staff, the faculty, the entrepreneurs who are actually building companies. And the other beating heart are the passionate employees and the mentors and the volunteers who represent the 12 accelerators we have at the University of Toronto. I'm really thrilled to be able to talk about the increase in engagement at the university when it comes to entrepreneurship. I joined the university in 2020, 2 months into the pandemic, and at the time we were supporting about 380, 390 entrepreneurial teams per year. Really happy to share that this year we're supporting almost 1,000 entrepreneurial teams across the tri-campus. The accelerators that you see outside, almost all of them have experienced double-digit growth in the number of students and entrepreneurs and companies that they support, and they're having enormous impact, again, socially and economically. It's not possible to support that growth and to sustain it without the support of incredible mission-aligned partners. And I'm thrilled that Desjardins is here again to support not only Accelerator Fest, but this Desjardins Speaker Series. A little over 2 years ago, Desjardins stepped up to be a lead of the UTE community and to champion a couple of our most important flagship initiatives, including the Desjardins Speaker Series and also the largest startup prize at the University of Toronto, the Desjardins Startup Prize. And so I'm thrilled to welcome to the stage to bring greetings on behalf of Desjardins, Wes Ladouceur, who's the Vice President Commercial Banking for Desjardins Ontario Credit Union. Wes?
Thanks, John. I appreciate the intros as well to some of the accelerators. I'm already thinking of how Desjardins can collaborate a little bit further with a few of you. So, hello, I'm Wes Ladouceur from Desjardins, and it's a real pleasure to be here with you all as part of the Desjardins Speaker Series at U of T Accelerator Fest. We're extremely proud that our partnership with the University of Toronto is bringing students and inspiring entrepreneurs together on a day such as this. I feel fortunate that we will be able to hear from Catherine and Zain in just a few moments so that they can dive into their entrepreneurial journey as they share invaluable insight on their path to success. I also can't wait to learn more about each innovation hub here at UT during the reverse pitches. During my time at Desjardins over the last 14 years, I've had the chance to meet and speak with many early stage entrepreneurs. And through those conversations, I've learned that what many are looking for is mentorship and guidance. Connecting aspiring entrepreneurs with the right expertise and support is important to educate them and encourage them on how they can pave their own path. And that's exactly what UTE is doing on a daily basis. Now, more than ever before, we need entrepreneurial talent. We need ingenuity to modernize our society. We need innovations that will revolutionize everything from healthcare and manufacturing to technology and agriculture. Every new innovation will play a crucial part in transforming the way we do things and reducing our environmental impact. Innovations that showcase our biotech, clean tech, med tech, fintech, and ed tech industries are the solutions we need to move forward. Catherine and Zain, we are extremely excited to have you with us today. Whenever we hear of professional journeys like yours, it makes us very optimistic for our future. I also want to share a big thank you to the University of Toronto for making today happen, for your continuous guidance to entrepreneurs, and for giving them multiple platforms to showcase their creativity. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Wes doesn't know it, but we've already signed him up to be a judge for the Desjardins Startup Prize in March. Next slide, please. I want to highlight the opportunity to sign up for our raffle draw. One of the things we try to do at UTE is walk the talk to be a first customer for the companies that go through our ecosystem. And as you can see here on my left, we've got a fantastic prize pack. We've actually got 2 of them featuring a number of companies that have gone through the UTE ecosystem, as well as a complimentary pass to the Elevate Technology Festival happening in Toronto the first week of October. Scan this QR code, make sure that you're registered, and towards the end of the day's formal programming, we'll be doing a draw to give away these prize packs. The one that's on the top here, Modus, some of you might recognize them. They're a part of the Black Founders Network, which you're going to hear about shortly, and they're also the first student startup to do a collaboration with the University of Toronto bookstore on their beautiful fashion, on the beautiful clothing here. To set the table before our accelerator pitches happen, because you're going to get to hear firsthand from each of the accelerators very shortly, I want to highlight a few opportunities and resources that anybody who's working on a company or thinking about working on a company should be aware of. I'm also going to encourage you to go to the UTE website to sign up for the newsletter, because there's way more than I'm able to talk about during today's remarks. We think the largest startup job board that a university or college has in North America that's accessible. We have an intellectual property and IP education program that's free, is self-directed, gets recognized on your co-curricular record. We have a UTE Startup Perks program. There are all kinds of additional features and supports that we want to provide you with. But to start, we've talked about the Desjardins Prize. This is the largest pitch competition at the University of Toronto. We give away over $100,000 in non-dilutive prize funding every year because of the partnership and the support from Desjardins. It's non-dilutive, which means you don't have to give up any equity. You don't have to give up a stake in your business. It's an award, it's a grant. And you can see the prize categories on the slide behind me. The companies that have gone through this pitch competition over the years, you're actually going to hear from one of them, because Zain and Transcrypts competed in the pitch competition, and you're going to hear how it was a launching pad for some of what they've achieved. I see Diana in the second row from X Adams. Diana won, I think, $15,000 as the top early stage prize last year. And $15,000, on one hand, it sounds like a lot of money, right? But on the other hand, when you're using quantum chemistry and machine learning for water purification, it's not a ton of money. And after they won that prize in March, Diana and her co-founders went to the Montreal Startup Festival and came home with $500,000 in funding from that event, represented Canada in London, UK, for the $1 million Halt Prize, and we're one of 14 international companies to be selected, and I think the first in Canada in 5 years or 6 years. And so this competition really is a springboard to really great things. And so if you're working on a startup, encourage you to apply. You can see the deadlines here. We'll open up applications just after Thanksgiving, and November the 29th is the deadline. The top teams for the Desjardins Prize, our finalists will pitch and compete during Entrepreneurship Week. which happens every year, March 3rd to the 7th this year. Many of the events will happen in this beautiful building that we're in. This is the Schwartz-Reisman Innovation Campus, and it's also home to many machine learning and AI startups, the Vector Institute for Artificial Intelligence, our Innovations and Partnerships Office, many of the accelerators that you'll hear from today, UTest, Black Founders Network, Center for Entrepreneurship. So it's a big week. I always compare it to TIFF. It's the Toronto International Film Festival for startups. And we have 15 to 20 events across the tri-campus. They're not all here. Some of them are other places on St. George. Some of them are in Scarborough. Some of them are in Mississauga. Some of them are virtual. And so if you're excited about what you're hearing today, I encourage you to circle all of these dates on your calendar for Entrepreneurship Week. One of my favorite parts of the week is the True Blue Impact Day and True Blue Expo. And so you got a little taste of it outside in the atrium here in the lobby. But across the building, we have about 60 different startups, mission-aligned community partners like MyTax and OCI and IPON, as well as the accelerators again. And so that is going to be on the 6th of March, and we can't wait to see you all here for that. The co-working and community space in this building on the 7th floor is open today. We're having an open house. This is called the On-Ramp. It's about 5,000 square feet, 55 desks, 24/7 access for community members. You can have your corporate mail sent there. We have a beautiful kitchenette, a business center. You can book meeting room spaces. All kinds of events are happening for On-Ramp members. And it really is where you can be surrounded by your group, your people, fellow entrepreneurs. And we're doing a really special September back to campus promotion where you will be able to get 12 months for the price of 4. And it's already heavily discounted, especially if you're a student. And so if you sign up during the month of September, you get the full year for the price of 4. And on top of that, we're doing a draw at the end of September for anybody who has signed up. And we're going to offer 1 complimentary membership as well. Before you leave today, if you haven't, encourage you to go up to the 7th floor and do a quick walk around. It really is an exciting and special space. And then finally, the reason that Accelerator Fest was created, the engines of innovation. And so I mentioned at the beginning that one of the groups that is the beating heart of our ecosystem are the passionate staff from all of the accelerators that are here. I would include my incredible team that are responsible for making today happen, so thank you as well. And what we've decided to do, because there's so many different resources here at the University of Toronto, we talk about there being no wrong door or multiple doors for you to enter. It doesn't matter what you study, where you study, how early or late your business is, there's a way for you to plug into this ecosystem on this map. And increasingly, our most successful companies have gone through not 1, but 2 or 3 of the different accelerators, because you're able to tap into a different set of mentors, advisors, maybe funding opportunities, domain expertise. And so the staff that are going to come up here and pitch you are probably used to asking you to pitch them, because they want you to be ready to talk to investors or potential customers. And so we're going to flip the script a little bit. We've been really ruthless. We've given them 1 slide and 1 minute to get across their value proposition to you, with the hope that you will then go and ask them more questions afterwards. And so the last thing I will mention before inviting Arjuna up is that each slide has a QR code on it that will drive to their website in case you're interested in following up for more. And so to kick things off from the bridge, which is on our Scarborough campus, I'd like to welcome Arjuna.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Arjuna, and I'm representing The Bridge, specifically the New Venture Program, where we're home to almost 40 student-led startups. We support any student, tri-campus, any program, any stage of your venture, and any sector. So we're sector agnostic. Like our peers, we do offer traditional services such as mentoring with our domain area experts, as well as workshops. But what sets us apart and unique is the fact that The Bridge, which is our Business Research and Innovation Center, is affiliated with the library and our Department of Management. So what that means is the ventures that we onboard through our New Venture program have access to self-paced online training modules that really sets the foundation in terms of How do you craft a business plan, your research, your go-to market strategy, all with the guidance and supervision of our academic director and faculty in operations and strategy, Professor Bill McConkey. We also provide support to our startups through our work integrated learning model. So what that means is many of our students in our courses in our BBA offer support to our student startups where they act as consultants, providing support in areas such as strategy, research, and asset creation. So if you're interested in any of this, please take a look at our QR code and get in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you. We were joking that it's tougher to do 1 minute than 3 minutes or 5 minutes. 1 minute is super tight. So great start. Next up, Mimi from the Hatchery in the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering.
Thank you, John. So at the Hatchery, we are providing an end-to-end process, a methodology where we start with an idea and end with seed funding as we build startup companies and develop what we call the entrepreneurial human capital, with the only metric of success being job creation. And we have created jobs. So based on a count off of LinkedIn, our startups have created over 900 jobs in the economy. The core of the Hatchery are our programs, the Nest, Hatchery Launch Lab, UTIUS, and Hatchery Alumni. So we invite you to apply. Lastly, some of the highlights in our offerings include the First Employee Program. So this is where we provide our startups with their first employees. Our Build a Team tool, where we are matching co-founders with startups. We work very closely with VCs from Temerity Medicine, Department of Surgery, and researchers as we help them identify meaningful problems to build a startup around. So we look forward to seeing you at our booth, and thank you.
Next up, Faiza from the Black Founders Network.
Hi, everyone. My name is Faiza, and I have the privilege of working with amazing, brilliant Black founders every day as a program coordinator. At the BFN, we support Black-led startups and helping them launch, fund, and scale their companies at all stages of their journey. I would say what makes BFN tick and like our unique selling point is our community. We provide a place for support, encouragement, and a vast network for founders to excel beyond their imagination. So support for us generally looks like the resources we provide to them, our rich network of allies, supporters, investors, and most importantly, I would say our cohort-based programming. So above, as you can see, we have three different types of programs: BFN Core for idea stage founders, BFN Accelerate for founders with a bit of traction, and BFN Scale for growth stage startups. So we provide them with non-dilutive funding, resources, workshops, and a vast variety of people to connect with. So if you're interested in learning more about the Black Founders Network, you can find us at our booth right outside of the auditorium, and you can also see some of our amazing founders pitch next week on Friday during our demo day, which is also our 3rd anniversary. Thank you so much.
The food is also always the best at Black Founders Network events. Next up, Matthew from the Creative Destruction Lab.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for the invitation to come up and speak. Rather than tell you exactly what CDL does, I'll tell you why CDL exists. Building a startup is probably one of the hardest things that anybody can imagine doing, and building a startup where the product that you're building that company around is based on some sort of technological or scientific innovation is even harder. At the same time that you're trying to de-risk the potential of a business to scale, you're also trying to de-risk the technology even working. And so the Creative Destruction Lab was founded in 2012 to try and provide founders of deep tech companies the thing that we believe is the missing piece for being successful. Every company needs talent, every company will need capital to scale, but the thing that's often the hardest to find is a community of people that have successfully built companies before, where you can crowdsource feedback from them as to what they would do if they were in your shoes now. The CDL program is an 8-month program that's broken down into 4 days. Those 4 days are bespoke mentorship sessions where startup founders will get to meet with experienced entrepreneurs, investors, economists, and scientists in their field to break down of all the things to focus on, what are the 3 most important things to focus on next. The program has now worked with over 4,000 companies. We admitted 550 this year, and there's probably a community that's a really good fit for you. We have quantum, we have cancer, we have advanced therapies, because building these companies, it's obviously very different to build a health company than it might be to build a quantum company. So if you'd like to learn more about the program, please come and find me after the talk.
And next up, we have Juana from the Center for Entrepreneurship in the Faculty of Arts and Science.
Thank you. The Center for Entrepreneurship is a hub of innovation and entrepreneurship within the arts and science community, providing essential support, resources, and connections to transform creative ideas into reality. We provide access to academic courses to help you gain the knowledge you need to launch your venture and to build a network of support with co-curricular programs designed to help you succeed. We aim to connect you with experienced mentors and a vibrant community of entrepreneurs. At CFE, you can access our prototyping labs and maker spaces to bring your ideas to life and join a 24/7 co-working space community to collaborate with and access the resources you need to help you and your venture thrive. Please drop by our booth later today or visit our website to learn more about us. Thank you.
Next up, Paul from H2I and the Temerty Faculty of Medicine.
So it's great to be here with you all today. I'm the director for the Health Innovation Hub. Because of all the phenomenal resources that you just heard in the other accelerators, the Health Innovation Hub has focused on building programs that fill in the gaps of the health. You just heard CDL say it's hard to build a health company. What we have focused on is building a whole onslaught of programs that make it easy. We have a 4-level system. You can come in knowing absolutely nothing about entrepreneurship and receive the fundamentals that you need to then start your journey, make it to level 2, start building your prototype, value, and a believable business idea, and move you to level 3 where our ventures get funded. And you can see the numbers here. I'm not going to reiterate them. These are real numbers. We've been around since 2014 now. Roughly about 100 million plus a year generated from these ventures, people like you. There's programs that are tailored. We don't run a boot camp. We run about 146 events. We have 146 events on the agenda, probably even more than that, managed by the team, so there's something going on all the time. And if you're in 4th year and getting ready to graduate, you don't have to worry about not being a University of Toronto student, because we take you in. If you are building a health company, you have a home in H2I. And if you are building a company out of nursing, you have a home, medicine, pharmacy, you name it. If you're doing health, we will bring you into the ecosystem. So the program for the women co-founders in the crowd, pay attention. We run a program 6 months of the year now on the African continent as well as North America called FemSTEM. You can see the performance and the numbers and activities there. You can go to our website. It's really easy to join. You just Google on. We have 10 fundamentals that we teach in the program. And the goal is to excel in those 10 fundamentals. Failure in any one of those 10 fundamentals is a liability for your company. So we make sure that the ventures succeed in that. We just celebrated 10 years last night, and our partners tell us all the time that we don't have to worry about an H2I company coming into us. When they come asking for us for money, we know that they have A, B, C, D set up, and this is what we focus on. So I encourage you to go to our website. Our booth is outside. I see Sophie there. We're all the H2I people. There's 3 of them here today. They may not be on the room, but just throw your hand up in the air, embarrass yourselves, there we go, and speak to one of us. Thank you.
Congratulations again to Paul and the H2I team on last night's 10th anniversary and kickoff. It was a fantastic event. So we're halfway through. Wow, look at all the stuff that's already just in the first half. I'm excited to keep the ball rolling and invite Ignacio from iCube at UTM, our Mississauga campus, to the stage.
Thank you, John, and hi everyone. Don't worry, I'm gonna make this quick. My name is Ignacio, and I'm with iCube at the University of Toronto, Mississauga. We are a hub for social entrepreneurship and early stage entrepreneurs. We also care a lot about equity, diversity, and inclusion, and we have a lot of programs to support underrepresented groups in entrepreneurship, like 2S LGBTQ+ entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, and we also have an indigenous entrepreneurship program. Myself and my colleague Mo are in the booth outside, so if you have a minute, come talk to us. Thank you.
Ignacio gave us the seconds back that Paul used up. I'm pleased to invite Kamal, who's from the Sam Ibrahim Center on the Scarborough campus.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Komal. I'm from the Sam Ibrahim Center for Inclusive Excellence in Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Leadership, also known as CECILE at UTSC. So why CECILE? We believe that anyone should be able to see themselves in the field of entrepreneurship. So whether you're a startup, alumni, faculty, staff, researcher, or member from the community, we've got you covered. How do we support startups is basically, one of our uniqueness is diversity in our community. So you can see the breadth of diversity of participants that have been part of our community. We have supported over 400 startups, with our top startups combined revenue being 100 million. And one of our startups is also getting featured later this afternoon, Transcrypts. How do we support startups is by having an end-to-end programming with tailored workshops on topics such as design thinking, art of pitching, one-on-one coaching with industry experts, and also access to funding through a pitch competition. So if you are looking for holistic support for your entrepreneurship journey, come talk to us. Thank you.
And next up, we have Haley from SpinUp, also at UTM.
Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. My name is Haley McKay, and I'm really excited to introduce SpinUp, which is U of T's brand new and very first wet lab incubator located on our Mississauga campus. So with the creation of SpinUp, we're aiming to address the translation gap for early stage life science startups by providing access to affordable co-working wet lab space, equipment, infrastructure, and operations support. So in our IP neutral space, companies can continue developing and commercializing their innovations in the life sciences and beyond. So SpinUp can support up to 23 companies at a time for a 2-year membership period, which also includes entrepreneurship, programming, and professional services offered by our network of ecosystem partners on topics like business design, leadership development, IP, legal, regulatory, scientific, and tech advisory, raising and pitching to VCs and angel investors, and a whole lot more. So we're really excited to be part of UTE and look forward to supporting life science entrepreneurship at UTM and across the Tri-Campus. Thank you.
We talk a lot about entrepreneurship in deep tech at U of T, and rightfully so, but there's also incredible activity happening in the arts and the creative side of the house, and so I'm really excited to have Eli from Tomy to the stage.
Thank you very much, John. My name is Eli Lionbloom, and I am based at the Faculty of Music. It started with 2 questions. How do you give career advice to 900 musicians at once? And how do you share the value of music with 80,000 students across 3 campuses? The Toronto Music Entrepreneurship Exchange connects students and faculty to areas of the Faculty of Music that don't often have the opportunity to collaborate, connecting students outside of the faculty to all of you, and connecting us to the music sector in Toronto and internationally. We provide networking opportunities with music and arts organizations, funders and granting agencies, programmers and promoters. We provide career advice from U of T faculty, students, alumni, and industry partners. We help to teach and provide dialogue on business planning in music and career options in the music and arts sector. We provide resources and pathways for both research and entrepreneurship opportunities. Our workshops and networking sessions range from the future of listening, student innovations in music entrepreneurship, and alumni collaborations that bring good ideas in music to life. We regularly collaborate across the creative industries and develop partnerships locally and internationally, and we want to hear from all of you. Lastly, we have 600 concerts a year, and most of them are free. So we'll see you outside at our table, and we'll see you at the next show. Thanks.
In my remarks at the beginning, I mentioned our IP education program, intellectual property, and the importance for students and faculty of recognizing the value of what they create and how to protect it and ultimately commercialize it. It's an important topic when it comes to Canadian competitiveness and productivity growth in our country. And one person who thinks about this a lot and interacts with a lot of our startups in this space is Jen Fraser from IPO. Welcome.
Thanks, John. So as John said, I'm Jennifer Fraser. I'm the Director of Innovation at the University of Toronto. Our office is not an accelerator, but if you are an inventor and you have created a technology in the research labs at the University of Toronto, our office is here to help you. And as you've heard from a few of the speakers already this morning, anything that is in the high-tech industry where you actually have to build and validate a technology, it is very difficult. It is challenging, and that's why we have this resource available to our entrepreneurs that are working on these technologies in our labs. So the our office supports researchers who have created an invention in the labs at the University of Toronto or have in the creation or proof of concept stage of the development of their technology has used research funding that's administered through the university. So if you want to commercialize an invention created in our labs, our office is generally a first stop for those inventors. I have a team of commercialization managers as well as 2 patent agents on my team who can sit down with any innovator to speak with them about their technology, maybe ways in which we could protect the intellectual property that they're trying to commercialize. We'll hopefully sit down and talk about what the market potential is, what the market positioning would be of that technology. And then we rely, frankly, on all the other incubators, accelerators to help you in the training of how to become an entrepreneur. So even if you think this technology is not really meant to be a startup, it could be a technology that you license to an established company. Our office is there to help you. I will say that we do evaluate over 180 inventions a year. Approximately half of those will get patented. And we have, as an office, worked with some of the incubators, accelerators, technologies coming out of the University of Labs. We've created about 90 startups in the last 5 years based on those technologies. A lot of them have gone on to raise millions of dollars so that they can get those products into market. We have 3 resources on, just give you some guidelines on what you need to know about inventing at U of T, how to create a startup, and even partnerships with industry, because a lot of these technologies do require partners to get them to market. And lastly, one of the services we offer is our Deep Tech Download, which is a newsletter that we send out to over 1,000 investors quarterly, talking about the startups that we're creating, the milestones that they've met, opportunities to invest in them, and then touting about the ones that have received investment. So it's a great network to be able to access. Thank you.
And alphabetically, it makes sense for UTest to go last, but it also makes perfect sense to follow up and complement what Jen and IPO were talking about. So I'd like to welcome Samantha from UTest.
Hi, everybody. I am Samantha from UTest, and we are the research-based accelerator at U of T in partnership with TIAP, which is Toronto Innovation Acceleration Partners. We work with research-based early-stage startups from University of Toronto and our affiliated hospitals. Regardless of sector, industry, our year-long program helps research-based startups go from lab to market. Founders go from academia to commerce. And we do this with all these activities here and more. There are 3 things you need to know about UTest today. Number 1, we don't take equity from startups unless you take investment from us, which you can in up to $150K with opportunities for follow-on investment. 2, as alluded to before with Jennifer and Jon, if you want to get with UTest, you may also want to get with the Innovations and Partnerships Office, who offers so many supports with IP and so much more. Lastly, come visit us at our booth or at utest.to. Thank you.
How about a round of applause for all of the U of T accelerators? I personally am grateful for all of your passion and commitment to the work that we do. It's such a pleasure to work with you and to support you, and I'm really excited for the year ahead. And now we are at the fireside chat portion of the festivities. The theme for today's talk for the Desjardins Speaker Series is how to defy gravity with your startup. And for those of you who are familiar with U of T, Defy Gravity is the institutional campaign, the larger brand, and it fits with so many different facets of the University of Toronto. But honestly, I can't think of a better area that Defy Gravity fits than with innovation and entrepreneurship. In some cases, it's like literally. We had Mimi up earlier from the hatchery in engineering. We've got companies like Kepler that are dealing with space and satellites. They are literally defying gravity. And the 2 entrepreneurs that we have coming up for today's fireside chat have done the same things with the companies and the businesses that they've built. The Desjardins Speaker Series in the past has had last year we had Eva and Alan Lau from 2 Small Fish Ventures. Alan was the co-founder of Wattpad. They were both critical to building that company. We had Raquel Erdison, computer science faculty, founder of Wabi, autonomous truck driving, leveraging AI. A few months ago announced a $200 million raise, one of the largest single round fundraisers ever by a Canadian company. In previous years for this kind of flagship speaking opportunity, we've had Jeffrey Hinton, godfather of artificial intelligence. We've had Canadian Olympian Donovan Bailey. We've had Michelle Romanow. The point I'm trying to make is we've had some really, really high-profile speakers, and that's not to say that Kat and Zain aren't at that level, but we were really intentional when we thought about the speakers we wanted for Accelerator Fest, and we wanted to identify U of T entrepreneurs who had plugged into the ecosystem that you had just heard about, and we're a few years beyond where many of you in the audience are. And so I'm really thrilled that Kat and Zain have given their time to be here. The way this will work is that we have a QR code, and this is going to stay up throughout the chat. All of you can ask questions. I'm going to start by moderating a chat, but really this is about you and how you can plug into the resources and the expertise that our 2 speakers have today. So please, use the QR code, ask questions. My team will be feeding that into me. And I'm not going to read a formal introduction or bio. That's not my style. But I would welcome Zain and Kat to join me on the stage. And while they're coming up, a round of applause. And while they're getting settled, I will just give a quick little story. I was thinking about, okay, Zain and Kat, what am I going to talk about? I'll start with you, Zain. As you might have heard, Zain is an alumni of the Scarborough campus and the Hub, or the Sam Ibrahim Center out on Scarborough, and is a former recipient of one of these big pitch competitions that we do. And about 8 months after you won the competition, 8 or 9 months, I was reading, it might have even been Donovan who sent me the link, but I read about how Transcrypts had gotten into Y Combinator, arguably the most famous, it was Techstars, right? Techstars, one of the 2 most famous accelerators in the Silicon Valley, in the Bay Area, which is impressive enough just to get into Techstars. And then towards the end of the program, secured a little over $2 million in funding. $4 million in funding from a large syndicate of investors, including Mark Cuban, who many of you will know from Shark Tank and the owner of the Dallas Mavericks. And I thought to myself, wasn't this just the company that was on the stage like 8 or 9 months ago? And so it makes perfect sense for you to be here to share your insights. And then Kat, we had known from a previous life involved with Next Canada, or Next 36, a nonprofit that I had been involved with. But we hadn't chatted in a while, and I was starting at the university, and it was 2 months into the pandemic, and was coming into some of the, when it was okay to come into some of the buildings, including the on-ramp, there were these old banners from the founders and the companies that used to be an on-ramp but were no longer there. And one of them was Honeybee. And I remember reading about Honeybee in U of T News, but still hadn't really reconnected or chatted with Kat. And I think about a month or 2 after I joined the university, Kat sent me an email congratulating and welcoming, but also with some really tangible advice for things that we can do to further support U of T entrepreneurs, especially once they leave the nest, leave the ecosystem, to help U of T companies compete outside of Toronto. And I remember that. I was really grateful for you for just being such a great ambassador and advocate for our ecosystem and for the university. So thank you for that. Kat doesn't remember.
Glad that was helpful.
Yeah. So I'm going to join you. Do I have a mic on my chair? Yeah. Okay. I'm going to join you, but I will tee up the first question as I move my way over. And it's just introduce yourselves, but also talk about pre-University of Toronto. Were you working on anything entrepreneurial? Did you know you wanted to get into this ahead of time? And then we'll get into your company after. Zain, maybe I'll ask you to start.
All right, perfect. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure seeing everyone. And super excited. Thank you, Jon, for the warm introduction. And actually really impressed by all the accelerators on campus. I didn't even know that there were this many programs. And it kind of is a testament to how strong entrepreneurship is at the University of Toronto. A little bit about me. I'm the white hair give it away, but I'm only 24 years old. Unfortunately, when you start a startup, white hair, and my co-founder went completely bald, and I think that's part of the side effects of entrepreneurship that maybe are less publicly known. My parents were immigrants, came to North America. A lot of immigrant struggles, and always kind of knew that, my parents always pushed me to dream bigger. And, I've had family friends who were into entrepreneurship, and they mentored me from a young age. So in my college days, I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And kind of COVID hit, realized, the job market kind of tanked. And this might be my opportunity to kind of go out and see if I can start a company.
And Kat?
Hi, everyone. I'm the former CEO of Honeybee and co-founder of Honeybee, and then currently the head of product or senior director of product at Leapcure. Honeybee was the company that I originally built, and we recently been acquired through an M&A. Similar to Zain, I also come from a family where my parents were immigrants. They have been very, very kind and given me the opportunity to kind of do whatever I want, with some pushes in between about getting a real job throughout the tougher times at Honeybee. But I originally started the company because of a problem that I faced during grad school. So I was a U of T grad student. I was running clinical trials as part of my studies in the Department of Nutritional Science in the Faculty of Medicine. And I almost didn't graduate, not because of the scientific challenges of my research, but rather the difficulties with recruiting patients for my research study. And so I think I spent around $5,000 on subway ads in Toronto, had no idea anything about marketing whatsoever, coming from a science background, and didn't find a single person. I had one mom contact me and said, "Can you get my son off the couch and tell him to participate in this clinical trial for the $500 that we were paying out?" But outside of that, I ended up recruiting a lot of friends and did street recruitment at college and university, just to find my 30 or 50 patients that I needed to graduate, to collect data. And because of those challenges, I ended up starting a company that I thought would be useful for myself and my colleagues to find patients for clinical trials, but also to help patients get through the journey of participating in clinical trials, which oftentimes can be very scary. And so that was the conceptualization and the start of Honeybee. Fast forward to 5 years. We were very fortunate to be able to go through a successful M&A, and now I'm working as head of product at Leapcure.
Okay, I want to come back to the M&A in a bit, for sure. I suspect there's some questions on that. Zain, for those who aren't familiar with Transcrypts, what does the company do, and what problem are you solving?
Yeah, so Transcrypts has taken many shapes and forms over the last 4 years. Our current one-liner is automating HR compliance, and that's kind of where we're really focusing on. We kind of started off with allowing people to own their employment and income verification documents. So for those who are familiar, when you apply for a loan, a mortgage, apply for a new place to live, like a lease or a new job, there will be an employment verification done, and also in some cases an income verification done. Traditionally, those verification requests had to be responded to by the HR at that organization. We allow individuals to actually own verified copies of their verification requests, enabling them to share that directly with the verifier, saving the HR's time, money, and compliance costs, as well as creating a future where individuals, us, actually control our own data. Something that I'm particularly passionate about. And yeah, that's a quick 1-minute spiel on what Transcrypts is.
And can each of you talk a little bit about your U of T experience, whether it's U of T entrepreneurship, so the community that we're with today, or just how U of T helped you as a founder or as a venture? Kat, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so when I was still in grad school, I came across the Impact Centers program, Accelerator program, which at the time was a 1-week program. And so I remember my professor, Dr. Harvey Anderson, gave me a week off of writing my thesis to participate in that. And that was kind of the kickstart to Honeybee, where we learned about all of we got some feedback on and learned a lot about the initial challenges of starting a company, how to get it incorporated, how to do the accounting work behind it. And as a scientist, that was really helpful for me because I had no experience whatsoever. And so at the time, my co-founder and I joined this program, and we kind of came out of it with at least a domain purchased. We incorporated, and we came up with a company name. And that was kind of the start of that. We then, 8 months later or so, joined H2I, Health Innovation, and we were able to work with Paul Santerre, who helped us a lot with trying to understand our initial customers, find customers within the hospital network at the University of Toronto, and we probably secured our first 10 beta testers in the initial stages of participating in H2I. And that was really, really useful. And aside from that, we were able to receive some non-dilutive funding, which at the time was a lot of money for us to be able to just pay for stuff like our domain and basic accounting and all that kind of stuff. So the Kickstart was really, really useful 5 years ago.
And do you remember those on-ramp days And I know, again, post-pandemic, how we approach co-working space is very different, but any, pros or cons or benefits of being in that group in OnRamp?
Yeah, on-ramp was absolutely awesome. I just thought of something when you were mentioning that. It's kind of like, on-ramp kind of became like my parents' home after you move out from university. I left some banners there. I think I still had a locker with some things in it. We had a Honeybee mascot that we created in the beginning days to get patients to sign up for our mobile app. And I think I left that mascot in there throughout the pandemic, and we didn't pick it up until 2022. So we kind of treated it like our parents' home, and that's kind of an understatement for the amount of collaboration and teamwork that we were able to establish to build quickly at the very beginning stages of Honeybee, where I think that in-person interaction really helped us to grow quickly.
Amazing. I think sometimes being surrounded by other entrepreneurs that might be in completely different verticals, not in the same industry, but they're dealing with some of the same early stage founder challenges, and either having like a sympathetic, empathetic voice or having someone that you can bounce questions or ideas off of is powerful.
Yeah, so we had, I think, around 5 to 6 companies on our floor at the time at OnRamp. And we would play board games on our break time. We would hang out after and get beers together. I think most of the people that were on that floor, I still keep in touch with today, and I have their WhatsApp phone numbers, and we just talk to each other about our business journey, and that network has been absolutely incredible.
And Zain, same question. U of T experience, how did the community support you and Ali and Transcrypts?
Yeah, so we joined the hub out of the University of Toronto, Scarborough. I think that's been rebranded, right, to Cecile?
That's in the Cecile, Sam Ibrahim Center.
Perfect, yeah. So if I say the hub, it's because it's just been calling it that for 4 years. But, we met Gray and Donovan, in 2020 or 2021, right, shortly after we created Transcrypts, and it was the pandemic, so we were meeting virtually. But I think Gray or Don's first question to me was, "What's your business model?" And I was like, "What the heck is that?" Keep in mind, I'm an engineering student. My co-founder was a computer science student, so we knew how to build code, ship code. Didn't know how to sell what we had built. We didn't know how to sell to enterprises. We didn't know how to network, right? Even things as basic as a pitch. Was something that we had heard about in theory, but we didn't know how to actually, what constituted a good slide deck when you go to pitch your startup to an investor. And Gray and Donovan really helped us in those early days. We met with them, I think, a couple times a month, and they were very generous with their time. They walked us through Startup 101, kind of like that incubator phase, where it's like, okay, you're a college student, let's make you a professional. And then let's make you a professional who has the title of CEO attached to him. So when you go into a room, people actually take you seriously, right? And that was instrumental to us. And we've long since graduated, but we still stay in touch. And events like this, and even as alumni, we get a tremendous value from this ecosystem. Words can't describe how instrumental. Just getting that kind of that hand holding, that jump start in the beginning was for us to build our business.
And as I mentioned, your company did really well in one of the big university pitch competitions. The one that I mentioned, the Desjardins Startup Prize, every team has to have at least one student from U of T or recent grad on it. But for the entrepreneurs that have companies, do you have any advice for how to create a compelling application, a pitch? Remember that Wes might be one of the judges. So for the entrepreneurs in the group, what are the things that you can do to pitch your company fairly early on?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is don't be averse to criticism. Like a startup, in many ways, a lot of founders will describe a startup as their baby. And if you want to get on any parents' bad side, is to criticize their baby. And this is an exception. A startup is you want it to be criticized, right? I would rather have friendly tell me what's the issue with my business model, what's the issue with my product, what's the issue with my go-to-market strategy, then go out there in front of investors who are very ruthless, in front of enterprise customers who are even more ruthless, right? And then have them ask me questions that I don't know the answer to, right? So I think being open to criticism, and to kind of double click on your point, that non-dilutive capital that we got was instrumental. When we started Transcrypts, to show you how poor my financial management skills were, I put $35,000 on a credit card. I didn't go out and get a business loan and do any of that stuff, because who would give a business loan to a college kid? I had to put 35 grand on a credit card. So when we got that money, it helped me pay off my interest expenses until we were able to formally raise a round. So, you know, it was very much even forget about Transcrypts, it was my own personal finances. It even helped me prevent insolvency there. So, yeah, words can't describe exactly how much that meant to us in those early days. It was very stressful.
Wow, powerful. We're working on low interest banking products for our entrepreneurs through Desjardins.
This is very common, by the way. I also put a lot of debt on my credit card when I first started.
It's surprising. I mean, people won't give you money, but they'll let you take out, you know, $10,000 at 25% interest rate, and no worries, you can pay us back whenever it gets.
The questions are coming in, these are great, so I want to dive into them. Some people are asking about Techstars, and there's so many accelerators and incubators and programs that you can do after university. Can you talk a little bit about the Techstars experience, why you chose it, what you got out of it, and then we'll ask Kat the same question, because I know you've been involved in some of this as well.
Yeah, so, you know, I think the ideal progression of a startup is, you know, you do the incubator at the university. You learn the basics, right? You become that professional. You go from a student to a professional, someone who can go out into the professional world and raise. And that's when accelerator part comes in, where you can go to a Techstars, a Y Combinator. There's a ton of them, and they can kind of teach you, okay, how do we take this product that you've built, and then let's make this a $1 billion idea, right? That's what they're really good at. And so our experience at Techstars was a good one. We went, to be quite honestly, primarily for the brand name. We learned later on that was actually the least valuable part of our experience. The most valuable thing was the community that we were able to build there. And you know, I think that you can actually build that community now at the university level. We went through the program during COVID, so it was a lot harder to do it. So I would actually say that a lot of the benefits that I got out of an accelerator like Techstars was probably replicated by a lot of the accelerators in the room today. So you might not even need to do what we did. We did that because we felt like we didn't have that, just because of the pandemic. We did it. There was not like we didn't know a lot of people, and I think Jon's doing a great job of bringing all those resources in one room and having a booths outside. And I don't think that's necessarily the issue anymore. So I think if you spend your university years really networking and doing all that stuff, you don't really even need to go to an accelerator. They offer very little additional value than probably many of the other programs in this room can offer.
Follow on, someone's asking if you have much interaction with Mark Cuban or his team.
I have a quarterly interaction with Mark Cuban. I have a monthly interaction with his team. Mark's been very helpful. He's obviously very busy, so we call it our Mark card. We only pull that very occasionally. So when we have a new product launch, we'll be like, hey, can you retweet about us? You don't want to ask too many favors, right? But yeah, he's wonderful, and he's actually quite responsive. And if anyone here wants to pitch their idea to Mark Cuban, markcuban@gmail.com. He's very public about it. He actually responds. So yeah.
markcuban@gmail.com. There you go.
Super cool.
Kat, same question around accelerators and incubators outside the university.
Yeah, so we didn't do the traditional Techstar and Y Combinator, but we did an accelerator in California, and it was based in California to fly there, called XX. And the XX accelerator gave us, I think, around 100K Canadian dollars in kind of pre-seed funding. Aside from monetary and, the mentorship resources that, a lot of people talk about, which they were amazing at in terms of organizing a program that allowed us to speak with entrepreneurs who did it and have been successful, either went through their M&As or, got to Series ABC. we found two things extremely helpful. One, the momentum that it creates when you're part of an accelerator, hence the word accelerator. We were able to go from not really meaningful revenue to an official signed deal by the end of the 3 months that we were part of that accelerator. And then within 6 months after that, we got to around 100K in monthly revenue as a result of that accelerator. So momentum was very, very good when you're a part of a program that pushes you to constantly think about your business. You're surrounded by a network of people who are thinking about their businesses, maybe in different problem areas, but just being in that environment was amazing for us, and we still keep in touch with a lot of the people we met through that network, whether they were mentors or just peers who are building companies alongside us. The second part is the network. So building off of what I said earlier, being able to talk to founders in a very candid way from people who are entrepreneurs and have done it before, or investors or VCs, that candid conversation is not something you can easily get outside of that environment. If you do a cold email outreach, or you reach out to someone on LinkedIn, or even if you have a warm introduction and you have a coffee chat or a Zoom call, it's just not the same as being able to have kind of like a fireside chat with founders and be able to ask candid questions about their experience and get honest responses and honest conversation out of it. So I think those were two things that maybe not necessarily people talk about frequently outside of the resources and programming. Those momentum and network were absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Fundraising. Start with Zain. I feel like we talk a lot about fundraising in Beta Kid, in the news. It's the headline, but it's a means to an end. You're just getting started, and it's also, from talking to hundreds of founders, incredibly stressful and time-consuming. Can you talk about the Transcrypts fundraising process and give any advice to entrepreneurs that are thinking about securing investment and how to go about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we raised a pre-seed round that was originally 2.4 million, about USD, and then about 6 months after that, we received another $1.7 million in investment at double our previous valuation. So we took that money as well, and we kind of lumped it all and called it our pre-seed round. But our total fundraising to date is about 4.1 million USD. We're actually just about to kick off our Series A. So back into the fundraising, kind of one of my least favorite parts of running a company, but obviously an important one. Overall, I can maybe go through the fundraising process if that's helpful. It really starts with networking. People don't invest in businesses; they invest in people. A business idea can be really powerful, but if Elon Musk tomorrow creates a chocolate bar company, he'll be able to raise $1 billion for that chocolate bar company because he's Elon Musk, right? It's because he's that CEO, he's that founder, he has that brand. So you have to convince people that you're the right person, especially at the pre-seed level. They're investing in founders. The business, everyone knows that the business is not well refined. The go-to-market probably has a lot of room for improvement. Heck, there might even be a few pivots in between, right? So when you go out to raise a pre-seed, you want to really sell yourself as a founder. Why are you the right team to go do this? And it probably speaks to the importance of having the right founding team as well. And I think it's a benefit of being in a university campus where, if you're an engineer, you can go to Rotman and get, your CFO, or you can get, someone who knows a little bit more business or marketing, right? Or if you need someone on the health side, you can go to the appropriate places on campus and get, those specialists. So you really got to sell the founding team, and I think that's extremely important. The other thing I will caution you about is do not take bad terms. Bad terms, it's easier to get divorced than get rid of a bad investor. And that's something that one of our early mentors told me, and it was something that really stuck with me, that once you sign that contract saying that, this investor will invest this much at these terms, that's it. right? From now until if you guys go public or get acquired or whatever, those are the terms of that investment. So it's really, really, really important. Like I know sometimes it can be difficult, but do not take bad terms. Have faith in the business, have faith in yourselves, and really go out there and network and run a proper process. If you don't talk to at least 150 investors, you're not doing fundraising right. And of those 150 investors, you're going to get 140 no's. But if you could just get those 10 yeses, then you can use that to create FOMO, and then you can get that to get the terms that are beneficial to you and your company. So that's kind of fundraising 101 at the pre-seed level.
Kat, anything to add either on fundraising or on bootstrapping or using revenue to grow the business?
Yeah, so I think it might be helpful to share the other side of fundraising. Honeybee was not super successful. I was not super successful in fundraising for Honeybee. We raised an angel funding round of around 200K, and then we got non-dilutive funding of around 850K, so total like a little bit over 1 mil to start the company. The non-dilutive funding was primarily coming from grants, government funding, and other sources of non-dilutive funding. It was a numbers game for us, like what you said. We spent around 8 months to a year talking to investors. I think I have a spreadsheet of a list of 200 investors that we talked to, and we got 200 no's. A lot of the funding that we received were primarily from accelerators through safes, and family and friends and angel investors who already knew who I was or understood the business in that specific area and wanted to support technology and clinical trials. I think what might be useful to share is that we, after a very tough journey of talking to so many investors and having so many no's, one of the things that I did was I got really angry, and maybe that was helpful at the time, but we became profitable within 6 to 7 months after that, and just ran a profitable business that didn't really require investment, and kind of came out on the other side somehow okay. I don't know if there's any follow-up questions on that, but
I just want to kind of add on to that. I think that goes to prove that not all businesses need to raise capital, and raising money from investors looks cool when you publish that headline, but it comes with a lot of strings. There's a reason why they call that show Shark Tank. Investors tend to be sharks. They're in the business of making money for their LPs, their limited partners, and they will not, they don't hold back punches. They don't care how old you are. They just want to make their return on their capital. So, bootstrapping and not raising is a perfectly legitimate strategy, and taking advantage of non-dilutive capital, $850,000 in non-dilutive capital is a lot of money, and not having to give up any ownership in your business to get that capital, I think is even more impressive than, giving up a piece of your business to raise money.
Yeah, so just to build off of that, in Canada, very fortunate to have been here and not been able to raise instead of in the US, but in Canada, we actually have a lot of government funding support for hiring, as well as for any companies that are specifically in AI and health tech. There's a lot of amazing funding there that we were able to take advantage of in the beginning stages of our company to help us get to the point of profitability. And then the second thing, just to build off of that point as well, is that the aftermath of that is when we sold our company, we kind of split the M&A money between my co-founder and I without having to pay out a lot of investors. So that's also nice.
An excellent point. And we're lucky to be in Canada, lots of forms of non-dilutive funding, and the availability of them goes up and down, but on the UTE website, and talk to your accelerators, whether it's Shred or IPON or Elevate IP, MyTax, OCI. There are so many groups that are supporting the Canadian and provincial ecosystem when it comes to funding. You might want to look there first before giving up equity in your business. Interesting questions coming in around, okay, so many of our startups are small and scrappy and they need to do market research or customer discovery. What advice do you have for them to do that market research and customer discovery with really limited resources? And bonus marks, I guess, if either of you can incorporate the use of AI models to simulate human focus groups.
All right. I think there's nothing like talking to real people. So as for the latter question, that'll be my answer to that. You don't actually need a lot of money to do market research. You just need $5. That's how much Tim Hortons costs. So you say, hey, X person that I want to talk to, I would like to buy you a cup of coffee. Would you, are you free for 15 minutes? Most people will take out 15 minutes of their day to help a student out. That's supposed, or maybe I just talk to really nice people, but I think you just need to go out there and talk to every single person you can, right? And sometimes it's not like the most obvious person that you're going to talk to that will give you the most insightful feedback. I got a lot of great general business acumen from talking to people who ran like Wendy's and McDonald's and we're a tech business. Well, because they understand margins, they understand how to hire, they understand human capital, right? And they hire a lot of people, and we sell primarily to HR. They will give me a lot of insights from their perspective. So, it's hard to sometimes make those connections, but when you talk to people, you realize, oh, wow, you start connecting the dots in your mind, and you start getting a better idea of the market and the potential opportunity. Also, where AI can be helpful is that it is really good at aggregating a lot of information. So if you want to if you don't want to spend hours reading research articles or things from McKinsey and all that, you can probably ask ChatGPT, and it'll give you probably a hopefully non-hallucinated blurb of the total market opportunity.
Yeah, I didn't have the luxury of ChatGPT when I first started the company, but I'm sure there's a lot of information you can get initially off there to just understand the market overall and see where there are gaps. But when I first started, I was 24 and I was completely obnoxious. I showed up at a lot of hospital labs just knocking on the door and being like, hey, are you struggling with clinical trial recruitment? Because I have a beta product here, and if you want to test it, we'll offer it to you for free. We're looking for 10 people. And biked around the city of Toronto just doing that. I don't know if I would do that now, but if you're 20-something and this is something that you can put down your ego to do, that got us our first 50 beta testers. And so 50 clinical teams signed up for Honeybee, listed their clinical trials on Honeybee, and started recruiting on the platform. We let them do that for free for about maybe 2-3 months. And that's how we got our initial feedback extremely fast. And it was basically me and one student intern biking around Toronto to get them signed up on the platform. We didn't offer coffee.
Both great answers. So Zain flew in from the Bay Area today and is flying back tonight. And so Transcrypts, you and Ali are out in San Francisco right now. What's the split between time in Silicon Valley and Toronto? Why are you there? And for those who haven't visited the Bay Area, what's the difference between San Francisco or the Bay Area and everywhere else?
Yeah, so fun fact, even 80% of our staff in our Bay Area office is actually from Canada. So even though we're in the Bay Area, TN visas are wonderful. You can kind of bring anyone from Canada into the Bay. The real reason why we're in the Bay Area is because all our investors are there, and that's kind of where they wanted us to position us. But from a talent perspective, all our talent is Canadian. As for our split, we're probably, at least me, I'm 80% in the Bay Area now, 20% in Canada. That's both Toronto and Vancouver. I think in general, there's actually not a need to move to the Bay Area unless your investors demand it. And if you have the opportunity to get a lot of non-dilutive funding. And I would actually say it's probably better to be in Canada because the government has a lot more benefits, as well as just better, a much larger talent pool. We think that talent, it's actually Ali and I's thesis from a hiring perspective, that talent is inherently better in Canada than it is in the Silicon Valley. I think there's something just grittier about Canadians. I think that the cold does that, and California's sun kind of makes people a little soft. So, we do predominantly hire from Canada. So yeah, just keep a lookout if you guys want to work for us. We're always recruiting. So,
Kat, anything to add from what you've seen outside of the GTA?
Yeah, so we spent about 6 months in California when we're part of the XX Accelerator. It was the momentum, whether it was because we traveled to a different country just to build the company, or if it was truly the momentum that was slightly different in California, we did build fast when we were there. There's a lot of conversation about innovation, tech, and healthcare at the time when we were there. Maybe it was the environment that we were in as part of the accelerator as well, and I don't know that that's hugely different from what I'm experiencing here when I'm on campus too, but yeah, the momentum was a little bit faster there. But I hope that like Toronto, and with the innovation that's happening with the new building, with everything that's happening on campus to support founders, that we can replicate that momentum here.
And I would agree. I would say, the Schwartz-Reisman Innovation Campus, the Sam Ibrahim Center. Sam Ibrahim is a University of Toronto alumni that has given back to the university. There's lots of key university investments in the innovation ecosystem, but above and beyond that, and recognizing we have university leaders in the room and folks that talk to our government relations, from what you've seen, is there one piece of advice that you would give to university leadership, government, around how we can do more to catalyze that here in Toronto, here in Canada?
Yeah, I think the United States, and this is my experience is predominantly in the United States, right? Is it does a better, it's a more risk of people are more risk. They care less about risk there, right? When I went to go pitch to Canadian venture capitalists, in general, the kind of the tone was you're 22 years old, you don't know what you're talking about, there's the door. And when I went to pitch to Silicon Valley VCs, they're like, yeah, we just funded 10 other student startups and you're our 11th one. So I think the one piece of advice, it would be, I think a lot of people underestimate just how talented university students are, just how awesome the student body is. And I think there's a lot of people who have misconceptions. And I think it's time that, we correct that. Because there's a lot of people in this room who probably deserve a lot of funding, and unfortunately they don't have access to that. So, I know it's a university mission, a mission of inclusion and equity, and I think there's probably a little gap there that has to be filled between where some of the institutional investors are in Canada, and what they actually think, what their perception of university students are, and what the university students' actual capabilities and potential are. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I think a lot of my experiences with fundraising, and then also with the M&A, it was quite a numbers game for us to get the volume and then see who responds and all that kind of stuff. But overall, just noticing a trend to build off of what Zain said is like the fast moving and ability to like take on risk is a lot lower here compared to specifically in California. And we noticed that with doing sales as well, like people are much more likely to just, we like you as a person and we like your product enough and we want to buy your product or we want to buy your company. Like these conversations happen a lot easier in California, and I would say operating off of a little bit more off of intuition and just investing in the founder themselves would be beneficial. I don't know if that's like a recommendation, but just like a feeling.
That's fair. And then the next question, somewhat connected. We can't let you leave without talking about the exit. Some of the audience members are asking about it, and recognizing that when a company is acquired, there are a lot of things that you can't talk about publicly. But you've been, for years you've been building Honeybee. Can you talk about the mental process to get to the point of selling it, and how you go about doing that, and looking for the right partner, et cetera?
Yeah, I like that you said mental process, because it was quite a mental process for me to get to that stage. So I mentioned the fundraising journey. It was also quite the mental drain to be going through so many no's. And then we got to the point of profitability, and I was getting to year 3.5 and just really experiencing burnout. We were trying to support a team of 10. As we were trying to get to profitability, supporting that team of 10 was getting harder and harder. We started to cut down our team members, and then eventually, I think towards the end, just me and my co-founder. My co-founder was part-time, and he already started a different company. So I was primarily working on my own, like full-time, but also like trying to do like side gigs to support myself. And with that burnout, I gave myself 6 months to try to sell the company, or just finish the contracts that we had promised to our customers and then close the company. And with that was all the PTSD that came from this whole volumes game that we were trying to play with fundraising. We did the exact same thing for generating all these leads that we thought would be companies that could potentially buy us, or potential buyers that maybe were not companies but individuals. And we contacted them again, some of them cold, some of them trying to find warm introductions to. Just the exact same fundraising process, but was even more challenging the second time to get through that M&A lead gen process. We ended up talking to 5 companies, and we got 2 offers. For one really, really close one, so almost 3, but we got 2 offers, and during that negotiation process, we had people from H2I step in. We had just like some of our angel investors also come in to help, who had maybe sold companies already in the past. And I think from the LOI to closing, it was around 4 weeks of just like high stress, checking my phone, checking like my text messages from people with the companies asking questions and all this kind of stuff. And I had no plans to work for anybody after the sale. But we ended up being really lucky to have a really great CEO who made the offer at Leapcure, and he gave me the option of working for the company, but that the offer was not conditional to me. The M&A wasn't conditional to me working for the company, and just the way he had a candid conversation around bringing me on the team was really, really nice. And so I decided to stay on and continue to work with them after like some time off, and finally just getting to this point. It's been about 8 weeks since I started at Leapcure. But yeah, just the whole process, now I can finally breathe. I feel like I didn't really sleep well for like the last 1.5 years, but finally I'm sleeping through the night. It's real.
We have so many other questions, but in the interest of time, we won't go there. But as you look to the future, and maybe it's too early to ask, but can you see yourself starting another company down the road?
I actually can. With a lot of the great tools that are out there, Replit.com, there's like no code coding now. I've been playing around with things on the side, but just the stability for now is nice, and I certainly want to start something again in the future. I still have some of the side gigs that I started while I was at Honeybee still up and running and generating revenue. But yeah, Leapcure is currently my focus. They're still calling me the CEO of Honeybee at Leapcure, and that has been really nice. I still get to continue working with the customers I was working with before.
Excellent. And also talking about mental process, burnout, mental health and wellness is something we're finally starting to talk about a lot more for founders. It's not easy. And there are groups, Faiza spoke from the Black Founders Network. They've incorporated a mental health and wellness into their programming. Paul and H2I, it's every year there's an event during Entrepreneurship Week. So there's value not only to those programmatic elements, but again, we talk about on-ramp or being part of an accelerator cohort, being surrounded by others that are going through some of the same things is also very helpful. We have time for the last question, which is like 30 seconds, a piece of advice that you wish someone had told you that you would impart to the entrepreneurs in the audience. Zain, I'm going to put you on the spot, and you've got to go first.
All right, perfect. I can kind of add on to the comment that you made. Entrepreneurship is mentally very challenging. It is a lot of rejection. It's a lot of long hours. It's a lot of uncertainty, right? There's nothing wrong with working a corporate job. You get your salary every 2 weeks, and there's something very comforting about that. Entrepreneurship, like I said, $33,000 in credit card debt. I have to
around the same.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to sometimes let people go. You have to have tough conversations. It's extremely mentally challenging, and I would recommend to everyone. My piece of advice is really, it's okay if you can't do entrepreneurship, but make sure that whatever you do, you just you check in with someone and you make sure that your mental health is in a good place. Unfortunately, I've known many founders, many people who work at early stage startups, burn out or actually have life-threatening issues because of poor mental health. So I think the biggest piece of advice and the least glamorous part of entrepreneurship life is its mental toll that it takes.
I totally agree with the mental health part, but a little bit different from that is, I think I wish someone had told me this when I first started. Maybe I've heard it, but just not with the same gravity until recently thinking about it, is there's the realistic aspect of your business and all of the struggles that you're facing day to day with your business internally. And then there's the external facing part, which you're trying to show your investors, the customers, whoever it is, the great parts of your business, and sometimes those two aren't separated properly. We can get lost in some of the metrics that we are presenting without the real understanding of what the struggles are within the business, and vice versa. Maybe not being able to communicate and make it glamorous what the metrics are with the company so that you can get the investment. So I think what I really wish was just in my head, somebody telling me the distinction between the two and being able to separate that depending on who you're talking to and the context, so you can do a real check-in with yourself, hey, we're telling everyone that we're growing 150% month over month, but is that revenue going to really be stable? Just really understanding those things. I think I wish someone had told me that in a way that I would understand the gravity of it.
I think that's a perfect way to end the conversation. Before I thank our panelists, can we have a round of applause for Donovan Dill here? And I'll explain why. I don't know how Donovan's arm has not fallen off, because it has been up filming the entire talk. So, and also for all that you do for our ecosystem. Thank you, Donovan. And now, on behalf of all of us here in the UTE community, thank you, Kat, thank you, Zain, for sharing your passion, your wisdom, your candid feedback. You're great ambassadors and advocates for the University of Toronto ecosystem, and you're part of this family for life. And so anything that we can do to continue to celebrate you and support you, we are here. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. One of the last things we need to do is give away these prize packages. And so I mentioned Modus, first collab with the bookstore. Norm is another product that's part of the BFN. Nanoleaf, really cool product that has been around for a while. Wearsos is also really interesting. I think they're another Scarborough product. They take leather from airplanes, from airplane seats that are no longer being used, and turn them into backpacks and handbags, and really incredible. Again, I mentioned at the beginning, we want to walk the talk and be customers, first customers, early adopters for our products. There's a listing of all of the companies that are kind of B2C, business to consumer, in our startup marketplace on the UTE website. I encourage you to check that out. If you have something that is in market that you're able to sell, reach out to us. We will add it. We want to amplify and celebrate it. And to give away this prize, these two prizes, we are going to spin a wheel. My team is very excited about this. And so spin it at the back, and let's find out who our first winner is. Eric. Is Eric still in the room out of curiosity? Put up your hand if you're still here. Because if not, we can follow up. But to claim your prize, you go to the reception desk and we'll be giving it to you there. So Eric is our first winner. These are people who registered, showed up, and then also scanned the QR code. He gets it. He gets it. We have his email. Can we spin the wheel a second time, Tristan? This is for the second prize. And remember, these also include a complimentary pass to the Elevate Tech Festival, October 1st through 3rd. Like Kim? Is Kim in the audience? Could also just be shy. Perfect. Okay, thank you very much. We can go back to the deck. And now to bring some closing thoughts, I'm pleased to introduce someone who's a huge advocate and champion for innovation and entrepreneurship at U of T, in part because she's a founder herself. Please join me in welcoming Leah Cowan, who's the university's Vice President, Research and Innovation and Strategic Initiatives.
So much, John. I love these UTE events and love this community and learn so much from everyone. So amazing event. I would like to say firstly, good afternoon. Really a pleasure to be here. And I would like to begin by thanking all of the people who made this event possible. So on behalf of the University of Toronto, thank you, each of you, for attending the first official Accelerator Fest. I hope you found this to be a valuable day and that you've gained new insights, new connections, new ideas and perspectives. A big thank you to our panelists who were amazing. So a thank you to Catherine Chan and Zain Zaidi for sharing their deeply insightful perspectives and experiences in entrepreneurship during our fireside chat. You're both fantastic examples and really appreciate your sharing your perspectives as founders who leverage some of the resources and networks available through the University of Toronto entrepreneurship community. So a huge thank you, of course, to Jon French for expertly moderating the discussion and for so much fantastic leadership for our entrepreneurship community. And last but not least, a very big thank you to our lead corporate partners on this, Desjardins. Thank you for their ongoing, fantastic, and critical support for innovators, which is really a huge part of our success. So we're really grateful. Again, this is a long-standing relationship and really important to us at the university. We thank you for your impact on enabling success of entrepreneurship at U of T by capitalizing on our global research capacity, our deep, very deep talent pool, and our unmatched entrepreneurship and innovation network. So again, thank you. So we're really thrilled to have been able to host the event today in our Schwartz-Reisman Innovation Campus. This is situated, of course, you know where you are, hopefully. So you are in the heart of Toronto's Discovery District. It's the new home of the Vector Institute, which together with U of T's Schwartz-Reisman Institute for Technology and Society, and also our partner, the Canadian Institute for Advanced Research, or CIFAR, really anchors U of T's cluster, leading artificial intelligence experts as they realize Canada's pan-Canadian AI strategy. The Schwartz-Reisman Innovation Campus really enables a convergence of our world-class entrepreneurship network, and you're all a part of this, with the country's largest concentration of student and faculty-led startups, amazing energy, amazing impact. It's also the home to campus accelerators like UTest, as well as the Black Founders Network, as well as the Center for Entrepreneurship in the Faculty of Arts and Science, which all leverage the numerous strengths of our globally recognized university to provide a really incredible and diverse range of offerings to current and aspiring innovators, myself included. So this space is not only home to numerous startups and scale-up companies, but also home to our University of Toronto entrepreneurship community, as well as our Innovations and Partnership Office, facilitating inventions and commercializations and the needs of our U of T researchers, as well as OnRamp, which is a fantastic collaboration and co-working space for our U of T entrepreneurship community. So our hope is that for many of you in the audience, this is a start of a fantastic entrepreneurship journey by attending such an event that will help you engage and motivate and provide momentum as you move forward. As your venture grows, there will be not only physical office space for you to engage with and step into, but also a fantastic and very robust ecosystem of supports and advocates. And I think you heard a little bit about how important those supports and advocates are along most of the journeys that we hear about. So I'm just going to quickly highlight a few key superlatives. U of T has hosted 12 accelerators, and over time we will continue to grow our impact across our 3 campuses. Our community of accelerators supports about 1,000 teams annually, which is breathtaking, so phenomenal work from the team and an amazing amount of innovation in the community. Over the past decade, U of T startups have raised over $3.5 billion in venture funding and have created over 10,000 jobs, which is really remarkable to see that kind of output and impact. And I know that I speak for all of us at the university when I say that I can't wait to see the many exciting new discoveries that are going to come from this ecosystem and the ways in which our researchers, our students, and our broader community will continue to innovate to solve many grand challenges. We need a lot of solutions, I think is clear. So this gathering today is really special because I can say thank you again directly to the people who make our entrepreneurship community possible. It is your passion, hard work, dedication, and creativity that really inspire our innovators to make a huge impact, both economically and also socially. Our accelerators are, of course, essential catalysts to U of T's entrepreneurship ecosystem. And I am delighted to say you are almost free. So this now brings the formal programming to an end, and I am delighted again to invite everyone to continue networking just outside this room, outside of the auditorium, and in the on-ramp open house as well on the 7th floor. And I think there'll be festivities and engagement until about 6 p.m., so go mingle and make more connections and networks. Take care. Thank you.